What's up, everybody? It's the first week of April, and that means March is done, so we're going to dive right into all the coaster news that you might have missed in March. I know there's a lot going on and hard to keep track of it all, so hopefully this can be your one-stop shop to see what is going on in the coaster world. First up, Travis Kelce, the Super Bowl winning tight end of the Chiefs, has made a super strong marketing deal with Six Flags, and he is probably going to be their branding face from here on out for a good chunk of time. He said that he loved going to parks when he was a kid and didn't want to see the parks die out and invested in them, and then they turned around and said, hey, why don't you just be our face? So we're probably going to see a lot of ads with his face and things coming out in the next few months. All right, track has officially arrived on site, and construction has gone vertical and even upside down at Six Flags Great Adventure for what people are calling Project Purple. This is most likely going to be an extreme Mach spinner shuttle coaster that will have an inversion and then launch you up a spiraling tower. Some people speculate up to even 375 feet tall. That's theme park Brandon's guess. And it is set for completion in 2027. But I will say it sounds like they're really speeding through this process and doing construction fast. So that would be awesome if they had it constructed even sooner. Also, Six Flags Great Adventure has surprised everyone. While everyone's so focused on the Phantom Spire project, they have rolled out a complete overhaul of their boardwalk area and just retheming of it, putting in new flooring and everything, and they're announcing 5 new rides for the 2026 season. Technically, not all 5 of them are new. I think 2 of them are relocated from other parts in the park, but they're all flat rides except for one, which is a spinning wild mouse coaster, I believe, formerly Ragin' Cajun, which used to be at Six Flags America, which obviously that park closed, and so it's now here, I believe, under the name of Barrels of Fun. So that's a fun, exciting new development that we get a new coaster this year and then Phantom Spire next year. Now over at Six Flags over Texas, the track work is almost complete for Tormenta Rampaging Run. Hopefully testing will start soon. This is a record-breaking dive coaster over 300 feet tall with a beyond vertical drop and the world's tallest inversion, which will be an Immelman loop or maybe tallest Immelman loop, which will be, I think, 219 feet tall. A lot of people are nervous about it, because it could not go great or have a lot of maintenance issues, but it's panning out to look like an amazing thing. We're super excited for it. Hopefully that'll be open in time for the summer season because the park is already operating right now. All right, now over at Fiesta, Texas, Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, this isn't so much news as it is hints of what the news might be. We have been receiving a lot more hints about this coaster from Jeffrey Siebert, who is beyond excited for this coaster. There are a lot of cool videos you can dive into for information about this new coaster, but it's something developing in Crack Axle Canyon. It's going to open in 2027 as well. They've cleared out a ton of land. This coaster is reportedly going to go over or under the back road, so that'll be pretty cool. And Jeffrey Siebert has also said that it's designed to be a lot darker than the rest of the park, so it's intentionally supposed to be very, very dark at night. And he's also said that they're going to release new information every full moon, and big information is going to come on the next blue moon, which is when there are 2 full moons in 1 month. That is on May 31st, so keep your eyes out for May 31st. That's probably when they're going to give an official reveal of what the ride actually is. I'm guessing it's some sort of multi-launch coaster that is low to the ground, maybe goes through tunnels and stuff in a very heavily themed area, probably some sort of werewolf theme. I don't know what they would call it. I don't think they would call it werewolf, maybe shapeshifter, maybe lycanthrope. I think that could fit. It's a kind of weird name, but I think people could ease into it. But anyway, lots of new information is coming. Coaster Studios has a great behind-the-scenes tour where they go through most of this information. Over at part of the Disney Kingdom in Florida, in what seems to be more of an unpopular choice than a popular choice, Disney's Rock and Roller Coaster. This has been an ongoing development from now, but they have now stripped out everything and are starting to theme this as a Muppets coaster. So I don't know if you care much about that, but I know a lot of people are diehards about the Rock and Roller Coaster AC/DC theme, and that is no more. Okay, now this one's interesting. This isn't so much as official news, just rumors of things that might happen. Maybe people stirring the pot a bit. But Jaina Partners, which is an activist investment group, basically meaning we're investing in you, but we're going to try to make change. They are heavily invested in Six Flags Corporation, and rumor has it, or people have reportedly said, that Jaina Partners is very much trying to convince Six Flags to completely sell the company to a known buyer. I don't know who that would be. I don't know who would acquire it. I don't know if it would be someone like Enchanted, or not Enchanted Parks, but someone like Herschend, or I'm forgetting the name, but the ones who own SeaWorld. I doubt it. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is kind of interesting that there are people internally pushing Six Flags to sell. I really doubt something like that will happen just after selling off 7 of their parks, though. Speaking of a push for Six Flags to sell, Six Flags has just appointed a new head of the directive board, and his name is Richard Hadrill. I don't know what else he's done, but it is kind of interesting with all the shakeup and the selling of 7 parks, and there's this push from inside to sell parks. We have a new directive head, so it'll be really interesting to see in this next month what happens regarding his opinion, because that can kind of, you have someone new, they either say we're going to double down or we're going to change direction. So I hope he doubles down. I hope it works out with Richard. Real quick, before I get into this month's biggest coaster headlines, I just want to say this is a new series I'm going to do once a month. It's my fun way of staying up to date and hopefully making it so you don't have to try so hard to stay up to date if you're as excited about this stuff as I am. But if you want to see this stuff every month, just make sure you go ahead and subscribe, and so you can see when this next videos come out. And then give it a like too. I don't know much about YouTube, but everybody says that helps the algorithm, so go ahead and do that if this is the kind of stuff you want to see. Alrighty, now across all of the Six Flags parks, apparently, this isn't so much of coaster news, but theme park news. It looks like almost every Six Flags park is adapting an 18-year-old chaperone policy, meaning you can no longer be by yourself in the park unless you have a chaperone. And look, I grew up by Knott's Berry Farm, and they had the same thing, just a lot of kids in the area, and at Six Flags, teenagers getting into fights, jumping lines with no one to stop them, and I think there's a lot of delinquency that's driving families away. So I actually support the decision. I think it's a bummer for teenagers that just want to go hang out, but if having teenagers unsupervised in your park is going to drive families away because they feel like they're not safe or it's just not a good environment, it makes sense. Speaking of my home park of Knott's Berry Farm, finally this year they should open Montezooma's Revenge, which it's the amazing shuttle loop coaster. It's a classic, the first roller coaster in the park actually, and I don't think there's another loop launch coaster like it of the same design and launch type. Anyway, it's been pushed back about 2 years, and even though this coaster doesn't do very much, it's a classic that people love, and now they're going to have the element of surprise where they're either going to launch you forward or launch you backward. So that'll make it fun and more rewritable, and because of that, they're also adding comfort collars, which I know most of the coaster enthusiast people I listen to hate comfort collars, but I think it makes sense. If you're launching backward, you don't want people plunging out of their chairs. But that should open this summer. Keep your fingers crossed. I think that's going to be an awesome ride to have open again, especially with how crowded the park is already. Now, down at SeaWorld San Antonio, their new B&M Family Invert Coaster has opened. I just watched the Coaster Studios video on it. They did a review and everything. I've heard it's really awesome, really great layout, pretty intense. It's like the tallest and fastest and most intense family invert coaster. I have heard that it has the B&M rattle already, but I don't really care about that as much as other people do. I do think it's kind of funny saying we are the most intense family invert coaster, because it's kind of like saying I'm the best Division II athlete in the world. It's like, that's cool, but you may as well go and compete with the D1 people if you're going to be the best D2, But I get it. It's made for kids and adults to ride, and it's easy enough for kids to ride, but also thrilling for adults. So I think it's a great combination and just what the park needs. Now, going back to Six Flags over Texas, we have Mr. Freeze. I went to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, and Jeffrey Siebert did an awesome job. I just saw the change that he made at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas with all of the scenery, at Joker Carnival of Chaos. It's not just a normal queue now, it's a fun house, right? In Poltergeist, they repainted it and turned the queue into a haunted house. And with their new coaster, Dr. Diabolical's Drop of Doom, they turned the queue into like this storytelling experience, and it's all really cool. And I think you can see that now that he's the head over Six Flags over Texas as well. It looks like they're turning the whole area into like a themed area of just like repainting, putting in a lot better theming for Mr. Freeze. I think they're calling it the Penguin's Lounge, so it's going to have some tie-in with the penguin there. I just saw some hints there dropping on the social media, and I like it. I think Mr. Freeze is an awesome coaster, kind of like Poltergeist at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Everybody loves it, but it hasn't been getting a lot of love or effort from the park. And now finally it looks like they're going to have an area that's more, not inclusive, but more immersive around it, and I'm stoked for that. Now we go to Branson, Missouri at Silver Dollar City, maybe the coolest Old West theme park, except maybe Calico Ghost Town and Osprey Farm. but they are closing their awesome, most intense mine train ever, Thunderation. This is a mine train that just starts off straight going downhill and just picks up speed as you go. I don't know why they're removing it, but it looks like they're making room for something pretty big in the park that's supposed to be the first of its kind and record-breaking. So we'll see. I know a lot of people are sad about it because it's a classic one. It's like if you took out Gold Rusher from Six Flags Magic Mountain, except I think Thunderation is more intense. I've never ridden it. But that'll continue operating until the end of 2026 season, and then it's out of here. So if you want to ride it, go do it this summer. All right, now we go to Universal's Epic Universe. This is a new park that opened just a few years ago. I've heard it's pretty epic indeed. Their standout coaster is Stardust Racers. It's a multi-launch racing coaster, and I have heard almost everyone say, I think this coaster is a little too overhyped, and then go and ride it, and then it's one of their favorite coasters of all time. Anyway, you probably heard about the person that died on the coaster a few months ago. Really sad. I think it was someone who was in a wheelchair or something, and maybe because of less strong bones or something, there was so much airtime and things that, anyway, had a really bad death on there. And I don't know if it's because of that or other things, but it has been closed recently. I don't know if it's maintenance issues, but I don't know if that's super exciting news, but I figured I'd throw it in because some people have been talking about it. It's just been closed. I don't think it's going to be closed forever. It was still operating after that event happened as well, but it's just been collecting dust, which is kind of ironic because maybe it's Stardust that it's collecting. Anyway, should open sometime soon, but whatever they're doing, maybe it's just annual maintenance. Got to get it resolved. And in probably the biggest news yet, Six Flags Magic Mountain, which originally was a troll theme before they became Magic Mountain, acquired by Six Flags, and then they were DC themed. They're doing a complete overhaul, and now they're going to be Six Flags Barneyland, and everything is going to have a Barney theme, like Barney's Bouncer, or Goliath is going to be Barney's Big Walk in the Woods. I'm just kidding. That headline's fake. That would be pretty crazy and very sad, but no, that's not happening. Now back over to Universal Studios in Orlando. Their new coaster, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, has started construction. This is apparently going to be a different layout, but mirroring the one that is already testing and running pretty well now at Universal Studios Hollywood, which is by the same name, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. I hear a lot of people are super excited about it. It's a multi-launched spinning coaster that's supposed to make you have the feeling of drifting around turns and stuff. Looks like a pretty cool concept. Now regarding passes and policies, Six Flags, which now includes all of Cedar Fair, has updated their pass structure to include regional passes, which I think it's a smart idea, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner. But it makes sense now that they have so many more parks that are close together. It used to be competition. Now you can have a regional pass. Like if I used to go to just Six Flags Fiesta Texas, now I can buy the regional pass that gets me into Six Flags over Texas as well, and Schlitterbahn, New Braunfels, and all the Hurricane Harbors there, and I think the Frontier City in Oklahoma, as well as Schlitterbahn and Galveston. And same thing for like a California regional pass, and then up in the east. So that's a cool thing. I saw an email even where they're giving people out free upgrades to gold passes, which included the regional passes, which is interesting. I didn't think they needed to do it for free, but I saw that as well. Legoland, every kid's dream and every adult kid's dream as well. They have opened their new multi-launch coaster, which is called Galacticoaster, at both places. I think it's the same experience for both places. If you've ridden the ride Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, it's kind of like that. It's a launch coaster that you're rotating, and it's a set rotation where you're looking at the screen and things like that. I've heard there are things you can do to even customize your ride experience. Looks like a really cool addition to the park. Also a super expensive addition to the park. Now over in Massachusetts at Six Flags New England, we have Quantum Accelerator, which is a family launch coaster, but actually looks really exciting, really thrilling. It's finally set to open this year, and hopefully it'll open soon in this season so you can ride it a bunch of times during the 2026 season. This is a project that had a lot of anticipation because it got pushed back so much with so many hurdles from the manufacturer and the park. And after multiple years of delays, it looks like you're going to finally be able to get a ride on this thing. Now, if we go up to Northwest Idaho, we have the park Silverwood has just finished being acquired by Herschend. If you don't know Herschend, they're a family-based or family value park or company that has acquired multiple parks throughout the U.S. Their biggest parks are Silver Dollar City and Dollywood, and they also have acquired Kennywood and put a lot of work into revitalizing Kennywood. I actually like Herschend a lot. I used to be, Six Flags or death, but Herschend seems like a park that is giving families what they need for park experiences. I've heard Silverwood in Idaho is doing really well and growing really fast. So hopefully being acquired by Herschend will only just fill the atmosphere more with just awesome things. So I think that's a good thing for Silverwood. I trust parks in the hands of Herschend. Should be exciting to see what comes next. Now over at Disneyland Paris, this isn't exactly coaster news, but I figured you might like this. This is sort of up your alley. We have Disneyland has debuted this walking, talking Olaf robot that is kind of like an AI chatbot, but inside of Olaf. Looks cute. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think we need more stuff like that. But apparently within just a little bit of time of opening, he had a little hiccup and kind of froze up and fell flat on his back. And I don't know, they'll probably fix the problem, but new technology and new technology difficulties over in Paris. Now up in Farmington, Utah, at what is now my closest home park, Lagoon, recently they had removed Jetstar 2. This isn't in the same place as Jetstar 2. This is over by the Wild Mouse Coaster, but they have just opened a new super swing ride called the Nutcracker. Looks pretty fun. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking, but at a park like Lagoon, they have a lot of fun flat rides. It kind of feels like walking around a permanent carnival. I think it's a fun addition to the park. And finally, as part of the probably biggest piece of news that you may have heard of, in a $331 million deal, Six Flags has officially sold off 7 parks to Enchanted Corporation, which will operate them separately. These parks include Six Flags St. Louis, Missouri, Michigan's Adventure, Schlitterbahn Galveston in Texas, that's a water park, Six Flags Great Escape in Queensbury, New York, Six Flags La Ronde in Montreal, Canada, or as they might say, La Ronde, Valley Fair in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, Missouri. So these parks will continue to operate under the Six Flags name until the end of the 2026 season. Hopefully going to Enchanted means that Six Flags can invest deeper into the great rides and also great theming in their bigger parks that they're hanging on to. And also hopefully this means that Enchanted will appreciate these parks more than they have been appreciated in the past, because they were kind of neglected. I personally think $331 million is pretty low, since starting a new theme, like one new theme park, costs about that. But maybe it turns out to be a good thing for Six Flags and for Enchanted. So exciting times. We'll see what happens. And now that Six Flags selling to Enchanted Parks is not a rumor anymore, we can actually figure out what they think about things. So the CEO of Enchanted Parks, I actually haven't listened to this, but I thought it was interesting. He got on a podcast with some coaster enthusiasts and went through and talked about what his wish lists are and what his goals are for all the parks they've acquired and what they hope to do with them. So if you're interested where the direction of those parks are going, especially if you're the one affected by those park changes, like your local park was one that was sold, I'm going to have a link posted to that podcast if you want to go and listen directly to his word to try and get a sneak peek of what's coming. And that sums up your coaster news in March. It's been a pretty phenomenal month with all the parks opening. It's a very exciting time. You see a lot of development. I think the biggest part is obviously the sell of Six Flags parks and what that's going to look like. It'll be really exciting to see what that turns out to be like. But thanks for tuning in. I'm going to do one of these every month, so make sure to go ahead and subscribe if you want to see these every month. It's my fun way of staying updated, as well as hopefully making it easier for you to not miss anything if you're as excited about this stuff as I am. Jimmy Does Coasters, out.